All right, really fast, I'm going over duplicating objects or doing multiples. So let's say you have one of these. You want just your raster and your cut, because that was what was in the question. Let's go ahead and disable that. So now I just have raster, which will do these rasters, and I have cut, which does all the rest of these. So that's my operation. Now in the if we want to do multiples on the same object, we do grid, how many wide versus how many tall. So if we do help grid, it'll tell you what the operations are. So we have the columns, the rows, the length, and the other length. So if we omit the other ones and we just do grid 3, 3, it will make a copy of all this stuff. And it did it for the operations that it had selected, which at the time was just the operations I was rastering. So let's go ahead and do a new here, and then do this one, and then let me just select everything, which is what's selected, and then we do grid, and so it copied the outside part too. And so this will have all of these operations as actually didn't duplicate them. So let's go ahead and say refresh classification. Now it will classify all the objects that it has, including all of them. So the raster will do one raster of all 9 of these objects, and then the cut will go through the various cut paths on all of the objects. And let's go ahead and drag these into the cut. And so we have just raster, then cut. And then our engrave operation is empty. And that'll do it. Also, there's a few ways to just duplicate. So if I wanted to do the same object multiple times, so say I just had this, and then I want to do multiple copies here, you can double click, and then in advanced, there's a passes. And so if we set this to say 9, it'll do 9 passes of this. And we set it to this, 9 passes of this. Set it to this, 9 passes of this. And then that will do 9 rasters, then 9 engraves, then 9 cuts. Okay, and then file new. Let's go over the other one. Okay, if we're not going to do anything odd, we can also right click, and then we can go in here and then set operation passes, sets the passes for the operation. But there's also duplicate operations. So if we duplicate the operations, we get another copy of the same operation. And then we can arrange this to, say, occur after the cut. And then we just duplicate several more of them. And let's go ahead and duplicate the operation. And let's put this one after this one. Or we can just run multiple times. So let me disable my duplicates here. Enable disable so these won't run. And then in the when we spool them, we go to execute job, and then it will let you do this, and then you can just run them multiple times. And then if you add an interrupt between them, you can run one, and then we send this. It probably won't send. I don't think my laser's on. We spool this job, and then this is what's in the job spooler, including the interrupt. And then if we run it again, we go here. Let's simulate the job this time. And then I just click send the laser. Yes, it can't detect that. This is because it's not connected. Send the laser. It will spool this job. And so now in the spooler, we see that it does the cut code. It'll hit an interrupt, and then it'll do a cut code. So if I go into here and I turn this onto mock, it will start running the various operations in a mock USB. And then at the end, it'll pop up a little continue, let you put in new material if that's what you need. One of the probably, judging from the question, what's actually needed is file new this, and then just do a grid here. So we do grid 3 by 3, and let's say we add them 2 inches apart, so 2 inch by 2 inch, and then that's not far enough. Okay, so file new. Let's go ahead and do 3 inches. Yeah, so it gives it enough gapping for it. If you leave off the inches, it'll just do it default. So you'd run it like this, and then if you want your rasters not to group all together, so when you go here and you say refresh classification, what it does is it puts all the raster objects in one thing, and sometimes you'd want to run a raster, then a cut, then a raster, then a cut. In 0.6.22 or 18 plus, there is a step repeat function. So in the here there is a fake step repeat, but only if you have developer mode on. But basically what it would do is when you run step repeat, it asks how many columns wide, and then it just does it in the it does the grid formation in the actual spooler thing. Okay, and that's going to be restored in a version or two. But okay, that basically covers most of the ways of duplicating the project really fast. All right, thanks for watching.